For a long time, I've been talking about both silver and copper in physical form as very good investments. Why? Because I think with the AI boom, something that a lot of people are missing is the need for both silver and copper in a couple of different ways. First of all, in the infrastructure of the data centers themselves and all the products that will be using AI. Cell phones, tablets, displays in vehicles, all these things will be using AI. They'll all need a lot of silver and copper. The data centers constantly need to replace AI chips and parts. A lot of the infrastructure will be there for a long time, but some of it needs to be replaced. So we tear out the old ones, replace with new ones, roughly every 18 months. More powerful chips and hardware needs to be replaced. That will be using up a lot of silver and copper. And then you've got the power consumption requirements. All the Bitcoin miners, which look like the same as a data center, and the huge AI data centers, they're using terawatts of mega amounts of electricity on top of the rest of humanity, increasing the amount of electricity and power consumption they need. This is using up a lot of silver and copper. I mean, last year, China set a record for making 1 terawatt of solar panels. This is a massive leap. And they're talking about increasing that to 8 terawatts per year as they try and transition away from fossil fuels. This is going to use huge amounts of silver and copper. This is why we do what you see on the screen here, something called urban mining. You can stack 3.5 grams of copper for a penny. So 35 grams for 10 pence in British pound sterling currency. Now, 35 grams, these are not quite 100% copper. The coins that are left, the magnet doesn't suck out, are 98% copper. So 10p, 10 pennies or 5 2p's, because 1p is 3.5 grams of 2p is exactly twice, that's 7 grams, is about 1 troy ounce, because they're 98% copper. And 1 troy ounce is 31.1 grams. So let's compare for a moment. The way I'm doing it, I'm spending 10p on 35 grams. Or look on the screen here. You can buy these copper bullion rounds for about £5 or £6 plus delivery. And that's 1 troy ounce is about 31.1 grams. The way I do it is, I like this coin, man. This is nice. Look at that. Comparing bullion to bits. Yeah, I hate Bitcoin and all crypto, all virtual illusions of paper or digital illusions of wealth. Whereas copper and silver are real wealth. But I'd say my 10 pence is a much better investment than about £5 or £6 plus delivery. On these coins, even though they look nice, I think you're much better off spending 10p the way I recommend it. People in my team are stacking copper urban mining, which I think will be more useful for barter items than these things. I say this is a good investment to buy physical copper in copper form. It's usually about £5 or £6 plus delivery. Now let's compare the two options. My 35 grams for 10p, either in 2p's or pennies. 35 grams for 10p, and it's 98% copper. So let's just call it 1 troy ounce. Or option 2, you buy these nice looking 31.1 grams. My way is 67 times cheaper than the other option, or 67 times more expensive. Stacking these lovely looking copper 1 troy ounce coins, 31.1 grams, for about £6. It's actually more. It's like £4 or £5 plus £2 or £3 delivery, something like that each. I can do it 67 times cheaper. And that's why I've spent more than £2,000 now on pennies and 2p's. And that is now worth over £10,000 scrap value. And I think a lot more than that in the real value when it comes to when the banks have a crisis, when the fiat currencies go into crisis, what will people use when you can't? Your pound's got no confidence in it, pound sterling. I think silver and copper will come into its own. Demand for silver and copper is going to keep going up, both monetary demand and industrial demand, with the rise of AI, robotics, aerospace, EVs, solar panels, wind, hydroelectric, nuclear control rods. There's a massive need for both silver and copper. Me for urban mining, teaching my kids about urban mining copper. They said, I don't think I've seen anything quite as desperate as this for some time. And they're all laughing. Oh, stupid. Urban mining the copper out of the pennies and 2p's. Someone else said, I wondered what had happened to him. And you have to feel sorry for kids like that. They feel sorry for my kids because I'm teaching them to urban mine copper out of the 2p's and 1p's. I don't understand why they're like that. But anyway, that's fine. That's their choice. So for those who are interested in urban mining, it is an incredibly good thing to teach your kids. This has happened all through history. When the Romans and the Greeks, when they debased their coinage from silver to copper and then from copper to iron, those who had the sense to take out the valuable coins before the other ones, the debased ones, replaced them, were very happy. And I think the same opportunity today. For decades, the UK now has had copper in their pennies and 2p's. The copper penny is 3.5 grams. The 2p's is exactly 7 grams, so exactly twice the weight. And you can see here, I've been called stupid man for doing this. And you have to feel sorry for kids like that whose father is a complete nut job. I'm a nut job for teaching my kids about monetary history. But if you do want to do this, the 1p coin pre-92 was all copper, 3.5 grams copper. It's not 100% copper, 97% copper. And then from 92 up until 98, they went to iron. These are worthless slugs, just made to look copper, but they are not copper. And then 1998, for some reason, for 1 year, they went back to minting copper again, 1 and 2p coins. And then from 1999 up until today, they're all steel, iron, worthless, really. So if you're interested in keeping the copper ones, look at this chart. This is very rough estimate of the value of the 3.5 grams. That's a penny. There was a time when it started, 3.5 grams of copper was worth less than a penny. So the 1p coin was actually worth more than that amount of copper. And then it soon became worth less than the amount of copper inside. And then it went to double. It went to 2p. It went to 3p. Now I've projected out there. So that's my projection for the next few years up until 2030. I think it'll go up a long, long way because it's something real and the currency is getting debased, but I cannot prove that. Time will tell. But at the moment, it's worth about 3p, 300%. If you can stack 1 metric ton of pennies and 2p's, which a lot of us are doing, it takes years to do that much. You know, you're going to get 300% return on that. And I think that will just keep going up. Plus, I think they will be worth more than just scrap value of copper because, well, for many reasons, it's perfect barter items. If the dollar collapses, then the pound will collapse soon after. And if you have real copper, 1 and 2p coins, I think you'll be able to buy bread, milk, cheese, eggs, goods and services. If they're copper and a magnet, you can check if it's copper or steel. I think they'll be worth more than that. So at the moment, a 1p coin is worth 3p. A 2p coin is worth twice that, 6p. Because, of course, 3.5 grams of copper in a 1p coin and a 2p coin is exactly twice the weight of copper, 7 grams.